Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Flat Earth and Coffee. I'm your host, Bobby Thompson. And before we get into this video, I wanted to talk about why I'm making it. Some of you, I'm sure, saw the title and said, who doesn't understand that? But there was a comment in my comment section in regards to one of the earlier videos I made. I saw it this week, and it said, could you please explain why a 24-hour sun in the Antarctic would debunk a flat Earth? So some of us take for granted that we have a good understanding of the heliocentric versus the flat Earth models. Not everyone understands. There's some people who are still coming in and learning. So I wanted to make this video that thoroughly explained the differences between those two models and why a 24-hour Antarctic sun would debunk flat Earth. So without further ado, let's jump right in. How a 24-hour sun in Antarctica settles the cosmological debate. First, we have to understand how seasons work on the heliocentric model. So to do that, I'm going to use three videos. And this video depicts the Earth as it orbits the sun. And you can see here, this stopping at where it's at now represents the Arctic summer. Okay, and this little circle that you see right here is the Arctic Circle with a 66-degree parallel north. And if the Earth were spinning right now on its axis, you would see that from that circle, if you're within it, you would see the sun 24 hours a day. And this lasts for several months. I don't know exactly, somewhere between 3 and 5 months a year, but let's just say 4. Right? That's a guesstimate. So for 3 to 4 months a year, I believe it's within that time frame. Don't quote me on that. You could see the sun, but that's not in contention. We agree that you can see the sun from the Arctic 24 hours a day for several months a year. And that works on both models, just to throw that out there. Now, the problem is 6 months later, when the Earth has went to the other side of its orbit, and ironically, this 23.4 degree or 66.6, depending on which side of the angle you're measuring from, never changes, which is statistically impossible. Seasons have never changed as long as we've tracked them throughout human history. But we won't go down the statistics rabbit hole with our cosmological model. Now you'd have that same circle at the bottom, right? This would represent the 66th parallel south, which is the Antarctic circle. And as the Earth were spinning about that axis right there, if you were within that Antarctic circle, you would be able to see the sun 24 hours a day for several months. It would mimic what you have with the Arctic summer. So let's move on. Now here we have a graphic of this is the Arctic summer, and if you're within this the Arctic circle here, the 66-degree parallel north, if you're anywhere in here, which you can be in parts of Alaska and other parts of the world, you're in daylight the entire time, and you can see the sun. Even if you're up here, you're at the top of the ball, you can still see the sun. So all the way to that 66 parallel, you can see the sun. Now, when you come to what we should have, if the heliocentric model is true, then 6 months later, you now have sunlight. The Earth is on the opposite side of the sun, and you would get the same effect if you're in the 66 parallel, below the 66 parallel south in the Antarctic circle. Okay. Now you have some problems. First off, we're not even allowed to go there because of the longest standing treaty in mankind, the Antarctic Treaty. We're not allowed below the 60th. I think it's the 60th, might be the 66th parallel south, but you're not allowed to go there. And we'll save that for another video. Maybe I'll add a link to the video I have in mind for that. Now let's take a look at how seasons work on the flat Earth. So this video was made by Rob Skiba, the late Rob Skiba, who made some great contributions to flat Earth. And you can see as the sun moves outward, that results in the Antarctic summer. And as it moves inward, that results in the Arctic summer. And if you have the Arctic summer, at the same time you have the Antarctic winter. And if you have the Antarctic summer, then at the same time you have the Arctic winter. So this isn't, it's not claimed to be accurate, exactly accurate. This is just a roughly accurate, like this is basically what we believe how the sun moves inward and outward above the face of the flat Earth. All right, let's move to the next video, the next graphic here. So what we're going to talk about in a second are these two graphics right here, which uh, if you're not careful, so anytime you go out to debunk something, if you see this video and you just go, let me just go out and YouTube, 24-hour Antarctic sun debunk, you're going to get strawmanned, as you do with every flat Earth argument. They are all strawmans, every single one of them. And if you do a little research, you'll see that that's true. Okay, the strawman you're going to get for the 24-hour Antarctic sun, excuse me, it's been a long day, is that we see 17 hours of light in Ushuaia, right? So, I mean, anything more than 12 is a problem. It would imply if uh, you know, how could you have that without how could you have that on a flat? It would mean light is stretching at really weird angles, which we're going to talk about. But 17 hours of daylight is not the same thing as a 24-hour sun. We agree that a 24-hour sun, if you could see the sun for 24 hours, that debunks flat Earth. But how can we get 24 hours or let's just say 17 hours of daylight? That's the longest that Ushuaia claims to get, which is the farthest we can freely travel to. And honestly, we wouldn't have a problem if you could see 24 hours of daylight, because we can create that. And let me show you what I mean. So here's the problem. Let's move to the December solstice. Where you're going to get strawmanned is one of these science communicators, or one of the many who try to debunk this, they'll say, well, look what light has to do here. Do you see this angle? Like, light travels this far here, but it only travels this far here. And that's how light would have to work by our understandings of the maps, right? Like we agree that sunlight would have to do work in weird shapes. It wouldn't be evenly distributed. But what they assume, what they fail to mention, is that we assume a firmament, or we assume a dome, right? And in the Bible, it refers to the firmament as a molten, it's like a molten looking glass, right? So what happens when you have a firmament and an atmosphere? Well, this was created by William Guzman of PC and Go Productions, and here's his YouTube channel. But Zachary Zabala also did it, of Good Times for All. And here you have, he's just taken a hemispherical dome, which is a half of a circle. Yes, it's solid, we get that, but atmosphere also creates refraction and other, it does other interesting things with light. So notice how as he moves this small local light source, did you see how the light wrapped all the way around the dome here? Look at that. That light, if you were standing here, if you were way out at the end of a theoretical flat Earth, the light would wrap all the way around. And you can certainly reproduce what the flat earthers say is, or what spherical earthers say is a problem. See how much light we're creating right here now? It's no longer round. So now once you invoke a hemispherical dome, you can't disprove that it wouldn't do this. So unfortunately, we don't have access to another Earth-sized hemispherical dome. With its own atmosphere. The only thing we can do is on a smaller scale. But on a smaller scale, it's reproducible. So the moment you have a dome or a firmament, now all this is very possible. And I want to close with one last thing. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of videos of the Arctic 24-hour sun. There's so many people have went and done them. We can freely travel there and do it, no problem with it. There have only been a handful of Antarctic videos claiming a 24-hour sun, and they've been done by very prominent people who are videographers for Nat Geo or Discovery Channel. They do them from bases where regular people aren't allowed to, like McMurdo. But when they've been analyzed, and let me start by saying the average person can't tell them as a fake until it's been pointed out. So some flat earthers somewhere figured it out. They pointed it out. If you look at the debunk videos, which I have two of them at the beginning of this video, which I'll have a link for in the description, I think anyone with any intellectual honesty will thoroughly agree that those videos are fake. I mean, they're clearly fakes. I'm not going to talk about how they did it. Watch the videos. Please watch the videos and ask yourself this. Why does there need to be a fake video of the 24-hour Antarctic sun? And why would they be being presented as legitimate videos? And why can't regular people travel to Antarctica and capture these videos? It hasn't been done. There's not hundreds, there's not thousands. You can't observe it, right? People do go there and get 17 plus hours of sunlight, but that's not a problem. We just showed you at a smaller scale that's once you invoke a hemispherical dome, that's not a problem because the light that the now and the flat are a small local light source. As it moves closer to that dome, light bends and refracts off of that dome. So that's it. Hopefully now you have a thorough understanding of the argument and you understand how a 24-hour sun is the final experiment. It is what they don't want us to see. They don't want anyone going to Antarctica, which is why there's an Antarctic treaty and why people can't freely travel there. And you're controlled where you can go. You can just go to, I think there's 2 places. One's directly under Argentina, a little jetty that sticks out there. I forget the name of it. And I think there's one across from New Zealand as well. But they're closely monitored, and there's been no videos come back that show a 24-hour Antarctic sun that haven't been debunked. And again, there shouldn't be any fakes, and there are. And why do they need to produce fakes? So I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, take care.